In this lesson, we'll take a look at how to distinctly drag and drop objects that are overlapping each other. So on our card table, we have an ace of spades and a 10 of diamonds. The idea here, as we would play cards in real life, is we could separate the cards and drag them independently. Well, I've created code to do that. So if I tap drag the 10 of diamonds, I can move it independent of the ace, and I can also move the ace independent of the 10 of diamonds. But notice how that when I tap the ace, it still remains underneath the 10 of diamonds. Typically in card games or in other types of games like these where you have multiple objects to drag, the object that you tap will pop to the top of the display stack so that when I tap the ace of spades, it appears above the 10 of diamonds. Additionally, if I were to touch in this middle area with the 10 of diamonds and the ace of spades, watch what happens. I'm dragging both objects at the same time, and that's not good. We don't want to do that. We just want to tap and drag the topmost object. So let's go to the code and solve this problem. So now in the code, I've got touch event listeners for the ace here, which in previous lessons we had referred to as card, and for the 10 of diamonds, 10 diamonds. Both of these objects are added to a touchables array. So that's here at 44 through 45. And I've already implemented basic drag and drop code that I've gone over in previous lessons. So now the key to getting these to move independently when they're on top of each other, and as well to get them to pop to the top of the stack, is that we need to stop handling the touch event when the topmost card is touched. That ends up being the simplest part of this particular problem. So we'll head down to the handle touch function, and underneath obj fire event, we'll simply type return true. And we'll do that also for the other one. Let's test this in the simulator. And now when I tap atop the area where both cards are overlapping, I only move the topmost card. And the reason for this is because that we've returned true as soon as the first object has been touched. So it basically stops the whole while loop. If we don't do this, it'll keep propagating through the touchables array. Now the next problem to solve is how to pop the card that's being touched to the top of the stack. If we go back to the simulator, we basically need the ace of spades to appear over top of the 10 of diamonds when it's tapped. To do this, we'll head to the ace of spades event listener, which is ace.add event listener, and we'll look for the touch start event. Now above the storing of the difference between the touch X and the center of the cards X, we're going to add the ace again to the scene.add this. So by adding it to the scene again, it puts it to the top of the display stack. It doesn't actually create a new instance of ace, just puts it on top of the stack. Then we need to do the same within the touchables array, because if we move its position in the scene, remember that its position within the touchables array corresponds. So touchables.splice, and we need an index, which we don't have yet, so let's put in a placeholder index. And we're going to remove one object. Then touchables dot push this. So we're pushing it back on top of the touchables array. Now we need to fill in this index here. We don't actually have this value. So we'll head down to handle touch. And within the obj.fire event method, we're going to create a property called index. So we'll add it after y, index. And the way we grab the index is it is the current value of I, because remember that I is equal to the length of the array, and we're iterating downwards through all of the indices. So index : I, and we'll copy that, comma, and paste, and I happen to get a spare bracket. There we go. Okay, so we've added the index property to the data that's sent with fire event. Head back up. And now for index, it'll be e.index. Okay, now we'll save it and Let's test it out. So when I tap the ace of spades, it pops to the top and I can drag it around. Now when I tap the 10 of diamonds, well, it doesn't pop to the top because we didn't implement that code. So let's do that now. I'll simply copy all of the code that we added, and I'll paste it into the touch start of the 10 of diamonds. We'll test this out again. Okay, so I'll tap drag the 10 of diamonds around. Let's put it down here. I'll tap drag the ace of spades and notice how it's now above the 10 of diamonds. I'll tap between them and I'm only dragging the topmost card. And when I tap the 10 of diamonds, it pops to the top of the stack. And we have successfully implemented code that allows us to drag and drop and highlight of importance the card being dragged by pushing it to the top of the visual display stack. At the same time, it allows us to drag the cards distinctly and not grab more than one card.